You can edit it out.
Yo, so I just want to point out this is therapy for us all. Like week in, week out. We look forward to it.
Listen,
Fellas, it's gonna be one of them nights.
It's gonna be. I'm telling you.
What's good, man? We got another prototype dad Tuesday night at 9. What's good, fellas? How y'all feeling tonight?
What's happening?
Feeling good.
Man, tonight we're gonna get into platonic friendships. We're running into this scenario on other pods where they want to talk about how I feel about women in general, and I'm like, it's such a y'all have heard the rhetoric, you know what I'm saying? That
All
I'll
right,
spit
y'all.
out.
I'm gonna get canceled tonight.
You know what? The first question is definitely for your bag, bro. But I think you're more political than that. So man, let's jump into it, man. And Leafer, you go up first because you're always just right next to me for some reason all the time. What's the risk of having female friends, man?
Man, it's a good question. So I think a major risk is, developing that line. You know what I mean? That line that you don't cross, or the line of respect. Especially if you're in a relationship or she in a relationship, you gotta have that line that you don't cross with communication. You know what I mean? With the physical touch. Because I know in the past, man, I had a lot of friendships, probably because of you, Kev. That a lot of female friendships. You know what I mean? And a lot of them were platonic. We was cool. It's just, we just vibe together. So I think being able to, to have a line where you're like, okay, yo, we not gonna cross this. Don't even talk about it. Don't bring it up. You know what I mean? And because it could get sticky and it can get dangerous. And I crossed that line once in my life, and I vowed to never do it again. So, definitely make sure you got boundaries and you create that line, and you understand what type of friendship it is. You know what I mean?
Go ahead, hit. What's the risk of having a female friend?
The risk? I don't know if necessarily what are you risking? Are you talking about if you're in a relationship, or like what's the risk? Like break.
Whatever
I'm
whatever
talking
yeah, it's freestyle it, man. It's on whatever you think
because
a risk might be for you.
I don't think this. I don't have a risk. There's any risk. Because other females bring other females. You know what I mean? I see there's a lot. It's more benefits than having a female friend. Now, if she's in a relationship, then that changes some of the rules, the parameters, because you know what I mean. I mean, most dudes know like it's really hard for women to have a male friend, and especially like if you got a friend, you can't be attracted at all. Like I mean, attracted to them. Like you have to remove the attraction. Because as a man, well, I know me, I gotta try at least once. You know what I'm saying? And then we could go back and being friends after that. You know what I'm saying? There has to be a mutual understanding. Like what my man Drake say, I just did one time. So one time is fine with me. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I feel about it. So if all some friends that I have out there listening, if our time didn't come, it's coming soon. But you know, but I'm honestly, and if there's no, if those relationships or nothing else is tied to that situation, then I don't see anything wrong with having a female friend. She can give you insight. You know what I'm saying? You can bounce because women can think like women. We can't think like women. You know what I'm saying? They can give you a lot of understanding, different, you know what I'm saying, viewpoints, tips. But if there's somebody else involved, then I can see the negative.
Go ahead, Mo. Spin it.
So the only risk is waste of time, waste of energy, becoming somebody's emotional tampon. Um, I mean, I think there's no value in being platonic friends. Um, obviously, I think that maybe after I, like Hit said, maybe after I've been sparred with you a few times, I keep you around. It's always on the menu. But with that being said, I mean, the danger is that you're wasting your time. You're distracting you from whatever your purpose is and whatever else you could have been doing that would have been productive.
Let me
Man,
swing that back one time for you hit it. Let me swing that back because I said a lot of stuff, but I don't think I said the actual risk that I see. So I want to make sure I make it clear the risk that I see. I feel like the risk on the female side is catching feelings, that ain't there on the male side. I think on the flip side, you know what I mean, for the male, I think like Reese said, well, wasting your time. But not only that, I think confiding into the wrong person, you know what I mean, that tells your information to the other people, and now you got your stuff all out there. So you know what I mean, that's a risk too. You think somebody got your back, and you're divulging things that you might not divulge to your guy friends because you feel like you're in a comfortable space, and now your stuff is all in the street. So
man. So I'm glad none of y'all hit my point. So I can spit it, man. I think a risk is uh, the domestic violence that we spoke on last week. You know what I'm saying? Like being involved, being friendships with somebody. You know what I'm saying? Like if any one of y'all called or needed, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, I got a problem. We're trying to solve problems for each other. You know what I'm saying? Take on each other's problems. And I think we have an understanding as males how to navigate those problems and when to add pressure and when not to and make it logical, justifiable, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Having female friends, if she has a boyfriend or something and he's putting his hands on her, like, you know what I'm saying? Like I had a teammate of mine who actually got, rest in peace. He actually died over trying to intervene between his female friend and her boyfriend and ended up getting stabbed to death. Like, you know what I'm saying? Which is wild to me. Like, but it's the risk is taking on their problems as your own. Like, you know what I'm saying? And we all know like females have different problems than we have as far as friendships. You know what I'm saying? And those problems from females is only we're really only willing to sacrifice, for our mom or sisters, like blood, like you know what I'm saying, our wives, like you know what I'm saying, our daughters. And now being friends with a female puts her into that space of your protection, in which you really have no control over. You understand what I'm saying? Like, so at least with your mom, your daughter, your wife, you have some form of control to maintain the level of danger that person may get into. You know what I'm saying? To make sure it's at a level that you can control and stays at a problem that you can solve. With a female friend, man, that joint can go anywhere. You don't have no control over her and what she gets herself into. And it could be illogical as heck. And she'll sacrifice you on irrationality. You know what I'm saying? And that's a dangerous zone for us as men who are problem solvers, protectors, whatever. Because we'll be friends with a girl, and if she pops off as something, you might necessarily, you got to kind of you if that's your homie, you got to jump in. You got to white knight the situation, and that's not ideal.
Yo,
Um,
so I would say this. So Leifer kind of hit a point, and you hitting a point, and this is kind of what makes my point right. If it's a friend, right? There's no, it's like there's pros and cons to having a male friend and pros and cons to having a woman. It's like having a friend in general gives you those same risks. So if it's a male and you confide in him and he goes and tells your business everything, you confided in the wrong person, not just male or female. And that's the same that you can have a hot headed homeboy who get you into. I know a lot of people who died from fighting for other people's fights because you with a homeboy that want to pop off, and then when it pops off, he's gone, and you in the middle of it, you left in the shot, so you left them fighting by yourself. So I think it's a friend in general. It doesn't necessarily have to be a female or a male. I think just picking the right friends, you know what I'm saying, to keep you out of those situations.
no, that's a valid point. You want to speak on it, Mo, or you good?
Yeah, I'll say that's a really good point that Hit just kind of brought up. However, the probability is more on the female side because they don't have that understanding of there's always a low level threat of violence when you pop off. Whereas the dude actually understands, like, yeah, we probably gonna get into it, and I might have to defend myself. They're like, ain't nothing gonna happen to me. I'm gonna just say what I want to anybody, and then somebody's gonna stop it before it gets too out of hand. So just the probability is higher on that side.
Yeah, I got.
So if I'm walking with Swole Vic, right? You know what I'm saying? I'm with Swole Vic, and I'm feeling like, yo, if anything pop off, I know he can handle it. You know what I mean? And so you got a lot of people, but now I'm just saying there's a lot of people that think like that. They may be deep. We might be in the club deep, and I feel like, oh, if I got all these people behind me, I can do whatever I want. And you overextend yourself, and you might meet somebody who really don't care. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's still valid on both sides, man. It's just picking the right people.
No, I definitely I hate that personally. Like like, oh, I'm with you, man. I'm going hard now. I'm like, come on, man. I'm not here for that. I'm trying to go home. Like, ain't nobody trying to go to jail. I don't want to
I'm
pull up
not
no
trying.
pistols.
I'm going home.
Oh
Well, I'm
yeah.
going home.
Well, no, I'm talking about as far as like getting arrested. You get arrested.
I'm going
You're
home.
not going home if you get arrested.
Going home.
I'm going home. But
I'm going home.
that's the thing, though. I mean, I think sometimes it puts you in a situation. You got them hot headed homies, yeah. But either way, though, I do think, man, Drew, funny story, right? Y'all know I got sometimes I'm tempered, but I went to a movie and I went to the bathroom and came back, and this chick and this dude took my seat. So I was just like, hey, this was my seat, blah blah blah. She turned around like, "It's my seat. You got up and left, blah 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 blah." And I was like, she was making me mad, so I just turned to homie like, "Yo, you're about to get everything she's putting you into right now." And he's looking at me like, like I was about to, like, I'm not going to hit her, but you're about to get everything she's putting you, like, you know what I'm saying? So it he ran that risk, man, and it's you gotta, regardless on either side, you gotta pick carefully. I just think when you have female friends, they're a little bit more. You really got to be careful with them. You know what I'm saying? Like I think a male hothead shows itself a little bit earlier. You know what I'm saying? And but so what are the you? I know you went into a little bit of the beneficial sides, but Leifer, man, get us started. What are some benefits to having female friends?
Man, I would say there's a lot of benefits. I think one of the major benefits is one of the things that Hit said, man, and it's one of the things I used to use all the time, man. I used to have some of the most beautiful female friends in the world I wasn't never touching it, but we was just cool. But yo, the reference from a fine female, it's like the best reference you can get, man, because it's just like if you rolling with fine females is rolling with you, and that used to be my mo all the time. We used to kick it, hang out, and she go, oh, yo, come on. She'd call girls to the VIP, like, yo, my friends, hey, yo, blah, 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 blah. And she would just run interference. So it was like that was dope for that type of thing. But on the other end, man, just like the conversations that we're able to have, you know what I mean? Certain things we're able to connect on, talk about that I might not be able to have with my guy friends or whatever. And just, you know what I mean? Like just the perspective is different. You know what I mean? Thinking and understanding, okay, you're coming from a place of feelings. And you know what I mean? Because that's where I developed a lot of that understanding is like I'm sitting here trying to speak logic to this person, and this person is telling me about how they feel, which lets me understand that they really don't have a grasp on the situation. They're just worried about how they feel about the situation. So I think a lot of that, perspective is something that I can attribute to a lot of my friendships with females. And I've always had pretty positive relationships with females. I've had one or two that got a little violent here and there, but you know what I mean. Other than that, man, most of my female relationships were really good. I just think some of those relationships got a little crossed the line and got a little more emotional than they should have been. But I've always had really good relationships with women.
Go ahead.
Yo, so I think that one of the biggest so there was a guy used to always tell me about having women friends, right? And I never understood like I never grasped the concept, right? I always thought like it was a negative, like yeah, or if you're talented enough to be able to maintain that friendship and receive all the benefits, then you winning in the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I have friends that will share me with other friends. You know what I'm saying? Because like if a woman validates you, right, that's it. That you pass the Carfax, you're good. You know what I mean? If another one be like, no, girl, he's cool. That's it. You're in the game. Like you're winning. Only thing you can do is mess it up. That's it. Like so, I think having a woman friend like for guys is like it's a cheat code. You know what I mean? If you're in a club, if you got a good woman friend, she'll bring other pretty girls to the section with you. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, but it's just establishing because a lot of guys say they want a girl a female friend, but they don't understand. They blur the lines themselves. You know what I'm saying? They don't know how to establish those lines. But if you can establish those lines, I think it brings like I think it's so super benefits to having it. And again, having that person that can break down the playbook for you. You know what I mean? Like I've been with women, and she's like, "Yo, you didn't see how she looked at you? You can get her." I'm like, "Well, what you mean? You didn't see that look?" Like they notice everything. They notice stuff that we don't notice. You know what I'm saying? Because they're women and they know the playbook. So I have women say that to me, like, "Yo, you need to go holler at her because like she's looking at you." You know what I'm saying? So I just think like on that end, this having somebody who can break the playbook down, who you can bring back a conversation, be like, "Hey, listen, this when this happened, what happened?" And they can tell you like how to win in those situations. You know what I mean? I think it's just that's what it's all about to win, man. I think having a woman on your side, man, in general, a down woman, there's no I don't see there's no I don't see anything other but benefits to it. The right woman.
Go ahead, Mo.
I hear y'all. I mean that's all fine and well. Everything that I heard from benefits wise is if you're on the bullshit. That's what I'm hearing. Like they'll bring other women, like outside of that, is there anything that's like beneficial to your life? Like I was expecting y'all to say stuff like, they provide good insight. Maybe they're good networkers. Maybe they can provide you stuff for your career. But like, I'm actually really
I think that's
disappointed that
what
it's.
Leifer said. He was saying they got good
Well, he
perspective.
was saying perspective on other women, right?
Nah, I don't think he was talking about that.
I mean, it wasn't just about other women. It was just like just perspective on how their mind works. You know what I mean? Their psyche, understanding how seeing the world through their
Right.
eyes,
So for other women,
and
yeah.
having emotional connection. You know what I mean? Build an emotional connection and understanding that because we're never taught how to build those emotional connections and being vulnerable. You know what I mean? So having those type of relationships, and it's not necessarily just about other women. It's about yourself. You know what I mean? Being able to be open yourself and not feel like you're being soft or whatever, you know what I mean? But being in the space to do that. So it's not necessarily about, you know, fucking off or, you know what I mean, getting other women in that space. It's more about being better in yourself by understanding that other side. But yeah, I'm not negating, the careers and the networking and things like that. But I'm just saying in some of the relationships that I've had over the years, most of the women in the relationships that I had over years, we worked together. So we were already on a similar career path. So it wasn't like networking. It was like we were colleagues anyway.
But
So from
women
go ahead.
but women will also share information. Men are less likely to share information. So, like I said, I mean, I understand we talking about the BS, whatever, but
Mhm.
in the grand scope, when I say like the benefit, so they share information. They also have more access than us, especially in the corporate setting, because white men will deal with a black woman way sooner than they would deal with us. You know what I'm
Now
saying?
we
So they
talking.
have
Now
a
we
different
talking.
access. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like good call. We on the
Like
BS,
I
but
like
they
yeah, I
also
agree
bring other
100%.
things to the table.
Yeah, like they're they're conversation starters, they're bridge builders, they're connectors much more than kind of just the male. So, but personally, and this is just me, they're not friends. Like the ones that this is bad, but the ones that I use for that, they're not friends, they're associates. Like I'm like, yeah, they call me when they need something, but they know that they only really get one question per day type of stuff. Like they can't call me for anything. I'm not fixing their problems. Like, we kind of keep it to, a minimum, really. But no, but I think those are some of the benefits though, because they're naturally um more talented networkers, I'll put it that way. Because they can get in rooms that, maybe everybody else can't. They're connectors, they're bridge builders and stuff like that. Um, and I've even used them in my career. So trust me, I get that part of it, but they weren't necessarily my friend. They were just somebody who was, part of my tribe, but they weren't friends. They were just, and we end up getting to the BS too. So that's why they were more on my tribe. But outside of that, I was like, what's the use of them? But no, I'm with y'all.
Is that because you chose to keep them in that space, or
Yeah.
it's just
So
organic?
yeah,
Yeah.
so 100% yes. Because here's always been my dilemma. When I've been my most transparent and my most vulnerable self, they end up wanting to be with me. And I was like, that's not what this was. I thought we were just friends. Well, sometimes those make the best. No, 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 no. That's not what we're doing. So, that's just, so that's just been my experience, is that whenever I was my most authentic self and my most vulnerable self, and I wasn't doing that Mo Better ish, did I like to jab them and keep them outside with the jab. That's when they be trying to do a little bit more. And that wasn't the intent.
So I definitely agree with them being networkers. They get in rooms that we can't, and I've benefited in great ways off of having some female friends that way. You know what I mean? In my career, in social life, everything. Like even when I was younger and we didn't have no money, girls always got like drink tickets. You know what I'm saying? You go out with your homegirl and she feeding you drink tickets, so you know what I mean, so you can get some drinks at the bar. And personally, like they're the best wingmen ever. You know what I'm saying? If you get a girl in your squad who understands the role, the plan that we all have for each other, you know what I'm saying? Like when we go out, our role is everybody, hey, let me get you a girl. Like, you know what I'm saying? And if you can if one's sliding into that and can understand that I'm here to help my homeboys get more girls, then I mean you're just winning. So there's tons of benefits, man, when it comes to having the right female friend, man. And you know, something that Leaford kind of spit to is there's some things that you don't necessarily want to tell your guy friends. You know what I'm saying? Because either we know y'all don't want to hear it, or they give you that emotional side, that emotional
Like
connection
what?
to
Because
whatever.
I've heard three people say that. Like, give me an example.
Um, something like it's really about the small details of things. You know what I'm saying? Like I can go to a female friend and tell them something that's a small detail that she would listen to and entertain, that y'all might not be like, I don't care about. Like, why are you calling me about this? You know what I'm saying? It's just it's something that's it's kind of pointless, right? We're not talking nothing solution based. Maybe we just want to get something off our chest, and they're just going to listen. You know what I'm saying? It's they're filling the role, especially of a spouse per se. You know what I mean? In that regard.
I had a really good friend. She's still a really good friend. And when I was going through marital issues, I mean, she was older. I never looked at her like that. Like she wasn't. We would never. But she provided like a different insight of things, and this is real though. And I mean, I'm talking about like intelligent emotion, not just oh, don't fuck that. No, it was more like a intelligent insight into like like to seeing like the other side of things. You know what I'm saying? How when I said this, it may have made her feel, or if she did this, this is how you should react to it because this is what it means. And that's something you can't share with dudes. You know what I'm saying? Certain insights you're not gonna get from a guy. He gonna be like, yeah, you just need to leave her. You know what I mean? Like, or hey man, get you another one. So I think there is there
So
has been
let
some,
me
you
throw
know what
this
I mean,
question
benefit.
out real quick. It's on the same lines of what you're speaking, though. I just wanted so everybody can answer. Can a female perspective really be valuable to us?
In some situations, but like in the so like, and I was about to push back on the hit me point. Like, let's stay here. Um, and this is just hypothetical. It really ain't hypothetical. It's actually a real. So it's actually real life application. Did any of it help?
Yeah, it definitely helped. It definitely helped
How
because
so? Like, how did it tangibly help?
it made me look at some of the things that I did right in that situation that I may have not thought about how it affected or how what you say to a woman, how it makes them feel or what it does. You know what I'm saying? And
And the reason
even
I say
though
that because it didn't save it, so does it make you better for the next woman?
that's exactly what I was gonna tell you. Like
Oh,
it
wow.
didn't make it.
Okay.
Yeah, it didn't. It wasn't for that because that was already gone. But
Okay.
it did improve me. You know what I mean? It was I seen the error in my ways to make me better for the next or the next situation, so I wouldn't repeat it. Because like sometimes we do things like if I want to motivate you, I'm like, man, come on, man, get your ass up. Let's go, man. We got this. You know what I'm saying? I can motivate you different. But if I do that same thing to a woman, I'm thinking I'm gonna get the same reaction I'm gonna get from you. But it's gonna do something totally different than them. And we don't always see that. You know what I'm saying? We don't
So
always
here's
catch it.
so one thing, I really didn't think that I was that much different in that regard. I read the room well. Like, I understand that I can't use the same message with every audience. So I understand that already. So that wouldn't have really been that much value add for me when she said it. But if you don't have that, if that's a blind spot for you, I can see why that's I guess a benefit. But like for me, I read the room well. And generally I see stuff before it's coming. I just be like, yeah, here comes the BS. And I might not say something, but I saw it. You know what I mean? Like, I understood, oh, it made her feel way. But if it was right, I stand on it. Like, so if somebody was to tell me, like, well, you made her feel this way when you said this, maybe you should try saying it this way. And I'm like, not if it was right, I'm gonna stand on it. And then if that person can't accept me and my truth in that way, I'm like, well, maybe we're not probably shouldn't be together. So
But
those are the type of discussions that I have.
it might be a situation where she tell you, yo, you was right. You know what I mean? Like you might be second guessing what you said and say, hey, it was right. I just think
And,
the problem is as much as we want, as smart as we are, we can never think like a woman can. Like we just don't have that makeup. Like we will never be able to process the things that they can process. And I think it's nothing wrong with having that help. You know what I'm saying? Having somebody who can decode the language for you.
I hear you. Sometimes I think that having too many cooks in the kitchen, man, it confuses you. Myself personally, I don't have too many moments like that I second guess it because I've already overthought it already. Before I say something to somebody that was deemed disrespectful or whatever, like I'm like, yo, I already know this is going to trigger them. Am I ready for what could potentially consequences can come from this? And once I've had that discussion with myself, I'm like, let the chips fall to where they may. I mean, literally, I have a saying that I'm not mad at you that you made the decision. I'm mad at you that you couldn't live with the consequences of it. Like, that's how I live my life. So I might say something to somebody, but I've already thought about it. Like, yo, like this could be the last time we talk. But I'm okay with it. I'm on the down this hill. Like, that's just how I work. Everybody might just pop off and say stuff. I don't. Like, I'm totally understanding. Like, this could be the last time we talk. If I say this, say it anyway. It's one of those things.
So I'm trying to avoid down on the hill, right? I'm trying to have a navigator that take me around, right? So I don't got to take the rough path. I can take an easier path. See what I'm saying? We all gonna get there. I'm just trying to get there. You know what I'm saying? In a
You're
faster,
trying to get
more
there
efficient way.
unscathed. So you're trying no. So you're not trying to get there the most efficient way. You're trying to get there unharmed. Like, you want a flawless victory. I'm trying to get there efficiently. I'm trying to get there in the shortest amount of time possible so I can get to what I really want to do. Like, me worrying about somebody's emotions and stuff like that, I'd be like, especially if it's not something that's like trying to get us where we said we were trying to go. I'm like, yo, this is like fluff. Why are we doing this? And I'm like, okay, is this something I want to bite my tongue on? Like, I have I have more heartburn about what I don't say than what I do say.
It is a lot trying to manage how to navigate around somebody's feelings, man. Especially when you know it's irrational, and then you're used to dealing with guys who you could be blunt and they not take it the wrong way. You know what I'm saying? So navigating around how females feel about what you're about to say and all this other stuff, and under also having the same understanding that they might not understand you or you won't understand them. It's way out of it could get way too much and way too like
Look, here, I got a perfect example. So how about this? So you say something to somebody and they disagree and you're willing to down that hill. And I'm like, well, I'm standing on it because I know I'm right. And they come back to you later and be like, I wish you, and they go and do their own thing. And they come back to you and be like, yo, I wish you would have been more firm with me because it stopped me from doing my own thing because you were right. That's a discussion that I almost never want to have again. Like, I wish you would have been more stern with me because you were right.
hmm.
That's a you thing. Well, okay, well, next time you either you just listen to what I say or you don't. But it's not about the decision that you made. I'm mad that you can't live with the consequences of it.
And to the question, is their perspective valuable? I don't think not really.
It can be. It can be in certain situations.
I'm starting.
Yeah.
No.
So nobody has never had a woman tell them, "Hey, you should go and tell her this, or you should go and say this," and it worked.
Yes.
But you, but
Yes.
you,
That's
but
valuable.
it's like,
But it was all on the
I,
BS. That's what I'm saying.
well, no.
Even in corporate, I didn't have people. I had a woman, so they was trying to get me on something, right? And she said, "Yo, you need to go and send this email and say da 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 da," right?
Right.
Right.
So in those, and you're right. I think that's valuable. Yes, you're right.
Right. But
100%.
that's though even but we just had two different scenarios in which a woman's opinion or her perspective was valuable.
I agree. That's why I say it in some cases, yes. I agree.
And I think the cases that a woman's opinion is valuable is something they deal with a lot. And if you get put in a situation, like for me, being a single father at a period of time, I knew how to be a single father based off of the advice and what I've seen women do. You know what I'm saying? Like I know women like when I like, all right, I'm a single dad. Shoot, they get WIC, I know I can go get it. They get on, they get food stamps. I know I can go get it. Like I knew, I don't think I can get WIC, but you understand what I'm saying because I think that's women and
You could
children.
get wet. Nah, you could get wet.
Oh, okay.
You could
So
get wet.
I didn't get the WIC because I don't really do milk and eggs like that. But even still, I definitely went and got the food stamps. I
You
definitely
don't let
went
you
and
get
got.
them brown eggs with WIC.
Oh man, I mean that's a recent thing. I wasn't on that. I don't think brown eggs was a thing then. I mean they always been a whatever. But as far as like I got like free education off of like government assistance, but I only knew I can get that because I seen women do it. You know what I'm saying? So when I got in the back, and I got like daycare assistants, like I knew I could get that stuff because that's what they was doing. You know what I'm saying? So when I was like tough in the bind, man, I just was like, man, what would these women do? And the women was like, oh, go get this, go get that. And you know what I'm saying? Instead of being too proudful, like, oh, that's what women do. Man, I swallowed that joint. Was in that office the only dude in there? Yeah, let me get this, that. I want all of it, applying for everything. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, I can get that. Man, I'm right that on there too. Like,
Well,
so I
that's
was
why I say
applying for
sometimes,
everything.
yeah. You're
And,
right.
and that's the sometimes that is
Yeah.
definitely beneficial. You know what I'm saying? And there's other times that I wouldn't say her advice necessarily is beneficial.
I mean, is it
But
that advice?
but I mean that was the advice, yes. But when it comes to like just navigating and what to say to different people, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I don't think a woman can tell me, oh, go handle this. Like, don't go say this to this person. Write the email like this. I just don't. It just doesn't happen very often for me. You know what I'm saying? That's my
So
experience.
to Hit's point, like I'm not mad at I'm not gonna stop him from saying it, but I'm gonna filter it very carefully because I understand it potentially it could be coming from an emotional place. And it could put me in a position that I would generally wouldn't want to be in. But yeah, I'm not gonna stop him from saying it because who knows? I don't care where a good idea comes from.
So how can we manage? How do you manage a friend that's actually interested in you and you know you don't want to go there? How do you manage that situation? Go ahead, Lee.
Yeah. I think you got to create and set clear cut boundaries, and you got to really let them know where you stand. Because I've had friends in the past, you know what I mean, who not only did I say it, they said it like, I'm not trying to be in a relationship. I just want to be friends. You know what I mean? You seem cool. You know, we hang out. And then 6 months down the line of us kicking it and chilling and stuff, now they want to be in a relationship. And it's like, oh, whoa. You know what I mean? And, sometimes you got to cut those things off. But I think you have to, you have to be intentional about how you say, like, yo, we just friends. You know what I mean? And really, like I said, create those boundaries and create that line that you don't cross, because you start hanging out every day, you start going to movies, you start going to dinner all the time, you start doing all this stuff that starts looking like, you know what I mean, relationship stuff. Then you start creating the wrong image, and that can easily go the wrong way. So I think you just have to, be honest about your intentions. And Mo, mute your mic. Let me finish. He looked like he ready to go in already. But yeah, you have to be intentional about what you feel, how you feel, you know what I mean, and what you want. And I think you just have to be upfront with that.
Go
Mo,
ahead.
you go. You holding?
I
You
was
holding?
look. I was actually going to agree with him. I was going to say, you know what that sounds like? That sounds a lot like a work husband to me. That's how them things get started.
Yeah, he ain't lying.
Um,
They,
but
what is it
to
like?
that
What?
point, but as far as boundaries though, like I agree with that. But again, to Vic's point, I don't believe in this. I don't subscribe to it. But if we can never hold them accountable, that's what they're habitual line steppers. So you'll set a boundary, they'll overstep it when it suits them. So you just have to, if you're going to do that, you have to hold them accountable to whatever boundaries that you set. Otherwise, like, 'cause they're gonna just step over them.
Yo, I'll tell you a tactic that I use. If it's and it's a real tactic. If it's a female, especially that I'm not interested in, like I'm not physically attracted, all I do is bring around other more attractive women with us when we're out. See what I'm saying? That totally, first off, lets them know what you like, right? And that they're not it. And then it also definitely strengthens the line because they know, like, yo, I'm out here with him and his other chick. You know what I'm saying? Like that is not. It's just. It's this is not how he views me. He doesn't view me like this. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm third wheel. Like, you know what I'm saying? You got. And after that shit, you'll never have to worry. I've done it before. I'm telling you, you'll never have to worry about it ever again. Like they be like, they'll give up. See what I'm saying? They'll friend zone themselves, man. But a lot of times, what dudes do, right? They teeter that line too, right? You in there having them long conversations on the phone, and you doing certain things. You're doing a whole lot of relationship things, but you're telling her, "Oh, I'm just a friend." You know what I'm saying? You say you just a friend, and then you telling her she got what you need. You see what I'm saying? So you got to be like super, super cautious. That's why I said, in the right situation, in the right guy can make that friendship work to his advantage. You know what I mean? You can really create a situation where you're good. But I think like you gotta strengthen them lines, and I'm telling you that's a real tactic. If you do it, if she feel like it's blurring, invite her out and be like, "Oh yeah, I'm waiting on my girl to come through," and she come through like ba 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 ba. Watch how she acts towards you after that. She gonna put herself in line, dog. She gonna know what time it is.
So I got a tactic as well, and I'm you stupid. My tactic is showing them the vilest parts of me. You know what I'm saying? Like I showed them a version even worse than I show y'all. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not even desirable. Like they'll look at me like I could never be with this dude. This dude is terrible. And you know what I'm saying? As long as they think I'm the worst thing smoking, you know what I'm saying? Like the woman I'm dating don't never meet that guy. You know what I mean? But they think I'm the most terriblest person ever. So you know what I'm saying? I just show them that part, and then we progress. What you about to say, Mo, man? Like,
Man, look, man, I'm gonna have to check my tongue. It gotta be bleeding there. Like I didn't bit my tongue so much this show. Um, I've tried both of those. Hasn't worked for me. I've been out of the game for a while, but I tried both of those. It did work for me. To his point, for his strategy, I remember I used to try that, right? And what they would do is not only would they understood that the boundary was that they could never get the top spot, but they would just fall in line for Slow Tuesday. A win's a win, but
A win is a win.
That's a win. That's a win.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. That's a win.
So they understood that. And then as far as like, the other strategy, the vow part, I kind of did that. And this is like, it actually is kind of cringy. I used to say it, but like it happened on multiple occasions. The only way I could really do it is I'd be like, hey, listen, no more one-on-ones. You got to bring a friend. You got to have a tag team partner. Either they fall off or they bring one. That's the only way I've got them to jump off the ship. It's the only way.
So here's a question though: can you be friends with somebody you've been with?
Absolutely.
It takes the a lot of it with us be just the curiosity. You know what I'm saying? It'd be the curiosity. And once you remove the curiosity, you kind of like conquer that. You're like, yeah, I'm cool. Like, she's actually cool. You know what I'm saying? You actually go.
I could have had a V8. Yep.
Yeah. you actually go into friend mode because it's like I'm there already. I did that already. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Like I said, just want to see what that like. One time is fine with me.
Perry, I love that line too, but it's kind of one of those things. I'm gonna let you go too, Lee. But it's kind of one of those things that after you had, like, you knew from the jump that she was never qualified for the top spot. You know what I'm saying? After the curiosity is gone, you be like, yeah, whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, it just is what it is, man. But go ahead, Lee. I see you bubbling up there.
Well, I ain't bubbling, but you know what I mean. And I don't know. For me, we friends unless we together. So I don't know. You know, now platonic is one thing, friends is another thing. You know what I mean? So we friends unless we together. So if I'm cutting the rug, or we kicking it, and we not together, we just friends. So it ain't no. I was never a one-hit quit it dude. I was more like, you know, hit it and chill.
Just a pound
towel.
Huh?
Yeah, I'm hit it and chill. Like, you know what I mean? We could, you know, get it and have a good time anytime. You know what I mean? It don't have to be just this one time.
I think that's very toxic of you.
And it may be, but at the same time, I was always clear. I was always clear about, you know, where I stood, how I felt.
No, you can't.
And we always had that conversation. Yo, we always had that conversation, and we knew what it was.
He's one of them dudes that's blur the lines, dog.
You know, if a woman's having sex with you continuously, she's going to catch feelings, man. Especially if, you know what I'm saying, you laying it.
That's you laying down with him and, you know what I'm saying, cuddling all this.
You gotta cut it off, man.
Yeah, like, he's lying. He's blur. He's a blur.
He's a blur.
Robin Thicke, blurred lines. Robin Thicke.
These have nothing to do with me. I was open and honest about everything from beginning to end. Always. You know what I mean?
What you say is what you do.
Yeah, it's like they women do not base nothing on what you say. It's all about your actions. Because you can tell them all day long, hey, I don't want no relationship, I want a relationship. But if you going out with them, you holding, you laying up with them, son, you're the boyfriend.
See, right, but I wasn't holding no hands. On that Captain Morgan. You didn't hit that Captain Morgan. No.
And I wasn't staying the night.
Yeah.
I wasn't holding hands and I wasn't staying the night. And they knew that I, you know, had other friends. So hey, everybody in the community, everybody knew what was going on.
I didn't got busy. I didn't got busy and laid there and talked to her about her relationship problems. Yeah.
Look, I've done that too. But here's the thing that we end up happening with
real deal scumbags.
I might need to leave that situation and do this one. No, don't do that. Don't do that.
No, I never got that. They knew it. They was like, yeah, you know, I'm giving them tips. You know what I'm saying? This is what that means when he said this. You know, like I just keep that. You know, because like you can have a situation where she just might like how it is when y'all get down, and just might want to just hit you up. You know what I'm saying? She just might want to smut you out. But you start getting all, you know what I'm saying? You blurring the lines and this and that, and you messing the whole thing up. She just might want to get a break. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like that's still a friend.
I've heard the phrase, it's not quantity, it's quality. So they can be with somebody and be getting pounded 3-4 times a week, and it ain't right. And then they come to you on
Slow
Saturday
Tuesday.
and you
And
get
then
it
they come
right.
through
You know
Slow
what I mean?
Tuesday, get that
You,
fixed.
you
They
got to
get that
get
blue
that one day a
magic.
week. You got to get that quality. So you know what I mean?
Yep.
It's
They
just,
come through on
it's
Slow Tuesday and get that blue magic. And then go back to bar from accounting.
So listen though, what's your thoughts on your kids having opposite sex like best friends or whatever? You know what I'm saying? I know my oldest has a female best friend. That's his homie. You know what I'm saying? He don't really look at her like that. You know, that's his homie. Though. So I mean, what are y'all thoughts about them having, your kids having these relationships with the opposite sex?
My son, I encourage it. My daughter, not no way. Not even. We're not doing that. Nah. That's a ploy. That's a wolf in sheep clothing. Nah, we're not doing that. Hell no. Nah. Like, you know what I'm saying? But my son, I encourage that. Give him, you know what I'm saying, change his perspective, help him, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, help him assimilate, you know what I mean, and whatnot. But my daughter, nah. Unless he's putting on the same clothes, either if he put on the same clothes, I don't even care. We're not doing that either. Nah. You're good. We're not doing that. Not at that age. It's not gonna happen, son.
So I would think. I mean, I don't know. I don't necessarily know how I feel. I mean, I think I feel positive about it, right? Because I think as friends, it's all our role to put everybody in the best position, right? You know what I'm saying? So if I got female best friends, like it's kind of how the ideas start, right? In high school, you was cool with a few chicks. Hey, put me on your homegirl. You know what I'm saying? And once they can be like, oh, he cool, just like somebody said earlier, it's all about being cool with the chicks and being like, hey, put me on XYZ. Oh, you cool with such and such? Put me on XYZ, and let them be your mouthpiece for you. So I think it's beneficial for boys. You know what I'm saying? Necessarily for girls, I'm kind of with you on that. I don't necessarily think that it's positive for them unless because that of course he's probably trying to smack, especially if you got we all got attractive daughters, like what I mean. So ah,
Yeah, see, especially at that age, I don't think they're mature enough to navigate that friendship line. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a lot of hormones, a lot of different things involved. I don't think they're mature enough to have that platonic friend. And like I said, unless they just don't like the opposite, you know what I mean? They're into whatever they're into.
Yeah, I think I'm a little wary of that, and I got this late teenage daughter. You know what I mean? So that the male friend thing is a difficult conversation for me, but I'll address it. So I'm not. It's not that I'm not okay with it, but I'm not okay with it because I think you have to be able to build healthy relationships with the opposite sex, and you need to understand what those conversations and things will look like. And I think sometimes at that age, having the right guy best friend or great guy friend might allow you to curve some pitfalls from some toxic, you know what I mean, guys that's just gonna lie to you and just tell you what you want to hear because they want to smash, knowing that you in this hormonal, you know what I mean, adolescent stage in your life where you're experimenting with stuff and just figuring out yourself and really getting to know yourself. And let's be honest, girls at that age, they think they're cute, but they don't know it yet. You know what I mean? They don't really know who they are, know what they got. So, you know what I mean? You spit the right thing to them, in their
I think
ear.
the younger girls listen more than the older ones.
Yeah,
You know what
for
I'm saying?
sure.
Like when the girls that you're cool with in high school, I think they listen to your perspective well beyond the ones that you're cooler with as an adult. I don't think the
Yeah,
adult
yeah,
females
yeah.
really listen to their male friends' advice because they still go off and do. I mean, the younger ones do
Well,
too,
they
but
listen to it. They listen to it, but they don't necessarily have total. I'm gonna say they don't have total control over themselves, but they want what they want. They want what they want. They want what they want. You know what I mean? And that's it. That's real. You know, because we don't always listen to advice that's good for us. Sometimes we want to do what we want to do. I heard you. It makes sense. Fuck that. You know what I mean? I'm gonna do what I want
You
to
sure we do? I don't think we do that.
do. Dude,
I don't think I
you've
just
been
throw
doing
out
it.
advice that makes sense.
You've been
I
doing it
don't
our whole lives. You've been doing it our
I
whole
don't throw
lives.
out advice that
You've been
makes
doing it our
sense.
whole lives. You've been
I
doing it our
don't.
whole lives.
I don't.
Dog, you've been doing it our whole lives.
Nah.
We give you.
It might make
I know. I give you
Nah.
information that will really like send you on a right path, and you say, "I don't trust you. I'm going left." Now you don't say I
Because
don't trust you, but basically,
it gotta be BS. It gotta be wrong.
it
You
don't
didn't make
be
a good
BS.
argument.
It don't be BS.
You didn't make a good argument.
I didn't feel like I needed to make a good argument. I felt like this just makes sense. That doesn't make sense. Go this way. You said
If I still went the other way, it just didn't make sense, dog. It really didn't.
Look,
I
don't know about
in the
you,
conversation.
but I know I have. Look, I know I have. But here. Look, I'm at a point in my life. I'll be like, "You'll be back." That's all I do. I'll be like, "You'll be back." I'll be like, "You can't say I didn't tell you, but you'll be back." But anyway, so as far as my spin on it, man. So for me, I think that when they're at that young of an age, they have such a lack of experience that I don't love it, but I don't hate it either because it gives a perspective to where like they're blind. They're literally blind to what's going on the other side when they're at that age. So this gives a little bit of a perspective. However, man, I remember I had that conversation very early. I mean, I might not even have been a teenager yet, like 12. I was like, hey, by the way, this whole platonic thing, I was like, keep in mind, it's generally only platonic on your side because you don't see them like that. They're just waiting for the right opportunity. So I actually had to have that conversation early on because, they're a little naive or really they're just oblivious to it because they're like, I don't see him like that. So he's just going to respect those boundaries. Whereas I'm like, no, baby, I know for a fact he's just waiting for the right opportunity. So keep that in mind. But yeah, I mean, I think that, like I said, I don't love it, but I think it's a necessary evil when they lack so much experience with the opposite sex.
Yeah, I think there's a classic term for that. It's called the friend game. Like dudes that play the friend. There's some dudes that they play that friend. I'm your friend. I will listen to you. I will there. I won't do what he do. All that, and then next thing you know what I'm saying. He capitalized on opportunity. So that's why I don't see that, man. It's not at that age.
Yo,
So.
dirty macking.
Yeah, I got it. There's
No,
a dude
dirty
that
macking is when you be hating on other dudes, like player hating.
And that's what they be doing. What he say? I wouldn't
yeah.
do you like
I
that.
want to do you like
Dirty
that. He
macking.
did what? He did. Oh no, man, he's a
Only
dog.
1 dozen
Yeah.
roses?
Yeah. That's dirty macking.
Yeah,
Player
but
hit.
I work actually. There's a guy I know, right?
No,
Yo,
we call out dirty Macs.
yo,
Call him
this
out.
dude. I don't know. He ain't dirty. He sits and talks to all the girls his age, whatever. But he's just like talking about his feelings and how this happened to him, and then they be like, no, he's just telling you all about his. I said
No
that's just
buns. And he'll get no
that's
buns.
that Ralph Transvance
Yup.
game,
No buns.
sensitivity. You know what I'm saying? All that, like, yo, it don't work, son. I mean, it
Meanwhile,
worked for
Ricardo over
some.
there just don't talk to him. Pound town.
Yeah,
Yeah, look at
he,
you.
he hoping you gonna share your feelings with him once he open up to
Right.
you. Then son, come on, son. Now, I would never do it, but there's people that's tactics, man. I'm not doing son. We ain't doing that French shit. Nah, son, it ain't happening.
That's that Forrest Gump. You know what I mean? He chasing Jenny all dang movie,
Little
and
show
he
what
ain't get her to the end till she
monster.
was ran through and had AIDS. That's that Forrest
Yeah.
Gump. You know?
Look, she'll watch you till she got the monster.
And that's it. That's what she was rated. Then she want to come on in.
Was on that BBC. Then it was they had that monster. They would mess with my man Bubba Gump. Nah, I don't have that kind of patience.
Yeah, that's one of the worst situations I've ever seen, man. Like in movie history, like you gonna take like you know what I'm saying? Like she slaughtered you, like you know what I'm saying? And then she died of AIDS though, like AIDS. And then you gave
Remember,
her
man,
son.
he got into it at the Black Panther party.
Oh
Man,
my
they could have
god,
offed him in there.
sure did. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, that's one of those movies. What's that one movie we seen where dude was like chasing his girl and found his girl in the alley?
1982.
Woo!
Hey,
Uh,
it'll hurt your heart.
mm, mm.
Yo, that's that marathon game though. You just keep sticking around. Then once you finally run out of options, you right there
Get
My
waiting
tired of
on
turn.
running.
I'm
Sprain your
here.
hamstring. You got sprain your
Yeah.
hamstring. Got tired of running. You caught me.
it. She probably be like, all right, well, all right, come on, just come on. You know what I'm
And
saying?
they know
Hey
it
Vic.
too.
Hey Vic. Remember he carried her out that alley.
But that's the thing. They could do that too. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta navigate their intentions. You know what I'm saying? Like if like they know what they doing to you. You know what I'm saying? Like dragging you along, slinging you along. They know you like. You know what I'm saying? I mean, are we wrong for that too? Because we definitely covered that. Like, are we wrong for like continuing to be friends with a person we know that's truly interested in us? We're wrong for that.
Nah, I mean, not if you blur the not if the lines are drawn. Like, and you're not. I wouldn't say you're wrong if you keep playing with the emotions, right? You keep going back and forth with her, and you know what you're doing. You're stringing along. So I just had that happen to me, where somebody got into a relationship that we was once physically involved. She got in a relationship, and like for like a whole year, like a year and some change, and we were cool. Like she would call me, tell me stuff was going on. I give her advice. You know, we was cool. And then when her situation failed, and I had somebody that I was dealing with, you know what I'm saying, more frequently. Yo, she told me, she said, "Yo, I'm not happy for you. I don't like it, and I'm not gonna be your friend." And I was like, "Yo, but the whole time you was with this dude, like we was cool. Like I was supporting you. I was, you know what I'm saying?" She said, "I don't care. I like you. I cannot have you. And I don't want you to be happy. I'm not gonna wish you was happy." Like
Yo, at
she
least
kept
she
her
was
butt.
honest. At least she was
And
honest.
honest, son, told me she ain't gonna and will never hear from me again. And I haven't heard from her. And I don't care to hear from her. But you know what I'm saying? But you know what I mean? Like my man said, I died on that hill. You know what I'm saying? But but I mean, the whole like her intentions the whole time by being my friend was just to keep a tab on me. So she can like kind of if her situation didn't work out, then she always
Monkey
had me to
wrench.
fall
Yep.
back on. And that's another thing that happens as a you being friends. You might not even know you really the fail safe. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So you just popped a question in my head. So what's the biggest mistake you've ever had having female friends? Go ahead, Lee. Go ahead, Lee.
I think the biggest mistake that I ever had having female friends is, you know, thinking that we were all adults and that we can, you know, control ourselves and do what we say we're gonna do, and you know what I mean, and mean what we say. And in a couple situations, what happened is like, like I said, I was like, I'm not looking for no relationship, just friends. You know what I mean, to kick it with, sometime maybe hang out, whatever. You know, she said the same thing. I did like down the line. Here we go. Oh, starting to, not saying if she want a relationship or not saying she want to do XYZ, but now, starting to be a little more, hugging and kissing me on the cheek, but then almost on my mouth, and then you know what I mean, like just all these things that I'm like, yo, what the heck is going on? Like I'm seeing this stuff, and I'm like, yo, what's going on? I'm like, yo, chill, like yo, kick it, man. But but and at the end of the day, you know what I mean? When you had that conversation, like, yo, what's going on? And then they like, yo, I'm feeling you, blah, blah, blah. And you like, nah, this ain't happening. And then they spells out on you. Like, I think that was the biggest thing. It's just like, yo, I established the line at the beginning. And now all of a sudden that you feel a certain way, you think I'm supposed to switch up out. Nah, like this is the line. This is where we at. So I think that was just that's just weird. You know what I mean? I'm used to like, I'm saying a certain thing and that's what I mean. And you saying a certain thing because that's what you feel you should say in the moment. But that's not really what you mean. That's not really your intention. So You know what I mean? I think that's the biggest mistake that I ever had is like listening to that, and not just seeing that, having the foresight to see, she's trying to fill it out and see if it's the right situation for her, you know, and not
I got a question.
that
I
she's
got a
saying
question
what I'm
for you,
saying.
Lee.
Go ahead.
So if have you ever seen, or even in your experience, would they do the same in reverse? Would they ever be? I've never seen a woman be somebody's friend that had no benefit to them. And I think if we think about it the same way, that'll keep us out of those issues. Like if there's no benefit to them, like if we're not like the same like caliber of person or whatever, and if that's not on the if that's not on the menu, I think that'll keep us out of a lot of mess. So have you ever seen a woman do it in reverse to where like the person had absolute no value to them, no benefit, and they were still platonic friends with the guy?
That's a
Because I
good
haven't.
question. That's a good question. Um, I don't know that I have, but I don't know that I haven't either. I just can't think about it because I've been sipping a little bit. But um, what I will say is that there was really there was no immediate benefit that was seen. You know what I mean? I think the benefit was sought after the fact, where it was like, okay, I see the type of person he is, or I see the type of person he can be, or I think I could change him into what I want him to be. And I think that kind of muddied the waters a little bit for a lot of the situations, not just for me, but with other situations that I've seen. So I don't necessarily know.
I think I seen it. A woman will be friends with somebody who absolutely bring any no benefits at all because they're sympathetic, right? That like they'll be sympathetic friends. Like they may not want anything from you, but you know what I mean. They emphasize with what's going on with you, and they will be your friend just solely based off of that. You know what I'm
They want to
saying? The
fix you.
emotions of it.
They want to fix
Yeah,
you.
they,
Yeah,
they,
I'll
I'm
say
saying
you're a
that
project to them.
you're a
Yeah.
puppy. You're like a puppy. Like
So
you don't
you
bring
get a benefit
anything any
even if they
benefit.
get that
I
fixed.
think I think a man to a woman always brings benefit. He could fix stuff. He could build stuff. Like you know what I'm saying. So they'll
What if
keep
you're
him.
not doing none of that?
I
Not
mean,
not
Like
all, not
you're
all.
not providing any of those
but
benefits.
yeah, but I mean, they think that's what you can prefer. You know what I'm saying? They think you can cover some bit of, you could fix this. I can have you build this. I could have you, come protect me. I can have you. I'll have a party and you'll be my security. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like they think you can do that. I mean, when they figure out they can't do that, you won't do that. Then they be like, all right, I think that's when they'll realize, like, oh, this dude really don't got no benefit. But I think a man to a woman always has benefit. You know what I'm saying? And it's not necessarily like that a woman to a man if he's probably not getting no goods.
Yeah, if that's not on the menu. Yep.
Unless she's putting them, but I think like it's every woman's female's. It's all of our jobs to get each other goods, though. You know what I'm saying? So like, it's even the role of your female friends to get you more goods. You know what I mean? So that's just the role of a friend to me. But go ahead, go ahead, Mo. What's your biggest mistake you've ever had having a female friend?
Like I look, man, I'll say this, and I really like. I'm really, for the most part, I've been the same person all my life. For the most part, at least at my core values. Um, the only the only mistake, and this is gonna sound wild, the only mistake that I made was probably not blazing them, like actually trying to be a friend to them. I probably should have blazed them. That's the only mistake I've made.
Yeah, you getting canceled, bro.
I told y'all. Look, when I
Edit
literally
that.
saw the
Edit that. It's gonna be a long night.
look when I saw the header for the show, I was like, ooh. I was like, he's trying to get me canceled tonight.
Hey, did you go on your biggest
Nah.
mistake?
I think I kind of told that story, is you know what I mean, and touched on it. I think overall the biggest mistake, man, and will be people not really being totally honest with their intentions with each other. That leads to all the mistakes that I ever had trying to have a female friend. When your intentions wasn't apparent, right? You hit them. Like I said, that story right then, and there's other women that play to be your friend, but they just really was trying to like get one up on you. So I just think people not just being genuine and with their intentions and being honest, just leads to situations like that.
I think my biggest mistake of having a female friend was expecting I can get sound logic and advice. You know what I mean? And it's very rarely. There's a select few that I could bring a problem and get some sound advice from. Maybe one, but but for the most part, like I, it's one of those things where you have to go in expecting, you got to take it in with a grain of salt. Ain't that the saying? Take You got to take what they're saying with a grain of salt, and you got to be. It ends up being more work than it needs. Than you know what I'm saying? Than you need it to be, right? So you go to them like, "This is my problem. Help me solve it." This, that, blah 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 blah, and then they give you advice, and you got to be like, "All right, that's BS. That's BS. That's BS. I'll take this. That's BS." Like you know what I'm saying? And it's just weeding that out ends up being more work than it needs to be, or even thinking they're going to understand your perspective, which they very rarely do. You know what I'm saying? I might have one female friend that understands a male's perspective out of all the female friends I have. You know what I'm saying? So
But I don't think the value is in them understanding the male perspective, though. I think, and I say it all the time, everything is about balance, right? So I think the value in having a female friend, or the value in getting female counsel, or the value in getting female perspective, is because they give you the flip side to the logical male, ideas and the male mindset. You know what I mean? And you get a whole different way to look at the situation, because we're always going to look at the situation logical, man. And I think one of my old best friends used to tell me, like, you're simple, you're too simple, because she just couldn't, in her head, she couldn't get that A plus B equals C. She couldn't get it. You know what I mean? It always had to be all around, and this and that, and around circles and around corners. She couldn't get that. It was just that simple for me. But I think sometimes you need that different perspective to really see the whole picture. Because right now you're only thinking about this point right here. But when you add that feminine energy, or the now you get the full picture. You get the full picture. You get the yin and the yang, not just the yang. So I think you can't downplay that perspective, but sometimes that perspective doesn't get you the male result that you want. But together, it'll get you the whole result that you need.
I don't have a sound effect that's this. But
This is
I
the
get you.
world's tiniest violin.
I mean, I hear you, and I know you're a little bit more open, for, to receive those kind of things. So I'm just, yeah, I'm looking for the male answer because that's normally the best answer.
I mean,
So be
I
it.
come from a family of women, so you know what I mean. And all the women are uber
So
successful. Uber
all them women
successful.
that you come from, you never realized that they fully BS.
No, no. What I realized that they might be full of BS.
Success or
However,
not, successful or not.
however, you cannot minimize the route that they went through to get there, and the things that they went through, and what they
But you can't
accomplished.
duplicate it
I don't
because
need to duplicate it. I don't need to duplicate it. What I need to do is just understand. What I need to do is understand the perspective, and then do my own thing. Like I don't have
but
to.
you
I don't have to
can. It's
duplicate
nothing
what
you
they're
can
doing.
even do because the way they did it ain't gonna be the way you can do it.
Yeah, but just think about it. The way you're going to do it, thinking in your masculine mind, is one sided, right? So it's not whole. So think if you had another perspective to just give you a different layer, because you got to deal with all different perspectives wherever in whatever industry you're in. So thinking you got one perspective, but now you got another piece that you're adding to it. So that's how I look at it anyway. Like I take different stuff that I got from them. I take different stuff that I got from my uncles. I take different stuff that I got from my friends, and I put all together, and now I got Captain Planet. You know what I mean? I look at each individual piece. I look at each individual.
Yeah, he been
piece,
drinking.
something that holds in. You know what I mean?
This
I use
man
that
brought up
reference.
Captain Planet, so it's over
First,
with.
Hey,
win.
I use
Hey,
that reference all the time. I use that reference at work too. With our powers combined, you know, the planet.
Oh man, but hey, this was a good convo, Doc. But I don't like to keep you over an hour. We're at 1 to 10, and that's another prototype dad. Peace.
Hey, don't cancel me.
I'll edit
You
it out.
cancel, nigga. You cancel, nigga.
All right, y'all.
All right.